and welcome to episode 14 of Tales from the Bargain Bin. I'm Bill Tucker, and today we have a very special guest. He is a regular contributor to the Games My Mom Found podcast, our sister podcast, I think at this point, to this fine show, and someone who I honestly think knows more about games than most people forgot. He owned his appearance on The Elitist, literally owned, made everyone look foolish, Mr. Michael K. Hughes. What's going on, man?
Hello. God, man, you got me like almost blushing after that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, no worries, man. Listen, I listen to your episodes on Games My Mom Found, especially your top 10s, and I'm always like, ooh, let me listen to a top 10. And I walk away not knowing a single thing you're talking about. Like, what are these games that Mr. Hughes is pulling out of nowhere? So, which is cool, especially the handheld one. I talk about that all the time. Your handheld episode for
that's a good one,
Mr. Albertson. Yeah, it's really good. I'm like, I guess I never really played handheld games because there's all these fun things now.
That's super funny because this game that we're about to talk about, I would have guessed that it's one that I would have brought up, and nine out of 10 people would be like, "What is that game?"
This is a fun one. We are talking about Deja Vu, which is a point and click, I guess you could say, adventure released for everything under the sun. Everything. This was originally a Mac Venture game, along with The Uninvited and Shadowgate, and there was a sequel to this game as well. I'm not sure if that counts as in the Mac Venture series, but we'll be talking about the NES version. So, Mike, this was your pick. So tell me a bit about your history with Deja Vu, when you played it, how you played it, and we'll go from there.
My dad had an NES at his place, and he only had like 4 games. We had the Monopoly for NES, which was just garbage. Looking back on it,
really rough. It's a really rough game.
He had this game that I think he probably bought for himself because it's like a detective thing. Actually, my dad and I weren't super close, so I don't know a whole lot about his taste and whatnot other than sports.
Okay.
But I know he played this even when we weren't there because he would, we'll get to that later. But yeah, we used to play there. I had no idea what I was doing. As a kid, this game used to terrify me. Something about that, like the same thing with Myst, is something about the atmosphere, the fact that you really don't see anyone else, and it's super eerie. Something about it.
It's a very empty game, and in case you've never played Deja Vu, I'll give it a quick synopsis. You play as Ace Harding in a film noir style detective story where you wake up with no memory, you wake up in a bathroom stall, and your goal is to not only reclaim your memory, but figure out the caper at hand, which isn't very well spelled out. No. I actually played through the entirety of it this afternoon, because if you know what you're doing, you can get through it in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And I played this game a ton when I was a kid. We had this along with Shadowgate, which is another game of this style, which I also love too. I think Shadowgate's a great game. This one maybe not as much, but I do like it quite a bit. And it was just a game my brother and I had, and we played quite a bit. And a lot of this is so muscle memory. So just remember, oh yeah, I gotta go here, I gotta go there. Did you get a chance to run through it a bit before we talked?
I haven't. The last time I played it was back in 2020, where I beat it for the first time.
Okay.
But I played enough as a kid that it's kind of, a lot of it's ingrained.
Yeah, totally. And it's really one of those situations where it's complete muscle memory. And I think that's really cool that this was one of the few games your dad had. It's one of those, like, why would you think to pick it up? But I could see as like an adult looking at a stack of games and going off a cover and seeing this like Dick Tracy looking guy on the cover of a thing, like, oh, that's kind of cool detective thing. I dig that. I could totally see that.
So glad he got this instead of the actual Dick Tracy game on NES, because man, that's garbage.
That is not great. Oh no, and that won't be on the show unless somebody requests it, because I never really played it as a kid. But this one for sure. Again, you play as this detective. You kind of roaming around Chicago. Takes place in Chicago. I don't know if the street names are legitimate, like Peoria and all the street names, but it does take place in Chicago. And the main crux of this game is, again, figuring out the caper. You're being framed for a murder and extortion. And your goal is to go around to these different locations. You don't really meet a ton of people at all.
And the people you do meet are not great.
No, none of them are good. And again, this is a point and click adventure. The one thing I thought about a lot as I was playing it for this show was, man, point and click adventures on an NES controller should not be a thing. I don't know. Brutal. When you played it on the NES, so you probably had a similar experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But luckily there's nothing like time sensitive that requires dexterous inputs or whatever, so you have all the time in the world to select what you're doing.
Well, you do, but you don't, because one of the big gameplay conceits of this game is your memory is fading and you are under some sort of drug. If you don't heal yourself of the amnesia, which takes a while to do, you die.
Really?
Oh yeah, fail state done, forget it. And you can easily fail state out of this game constantly and easily.
Yeah, because you get to a point where you can just throw things into the sewer, and if it's something you needed, you're screwed.
Done. You're boned. And or if you don't throw away the right thing and keep it, you're boned. You're doomed. You get arrested when you walk into the police,
Yeah.
which means you have to really keep track of the story because it tells you everything you need, but there's a lot of clicking about, which is tedious and not terribly fun, but it's a cool little detective story. Do you remember any big moments from that game that kind of stuck with you?
The mugger on the street that you would run into every now and then. It's kind of like Maniac Mansion, where it gives you the list of commands that you can select, and one of them is just hit, and that is that is your way out of this situation. You just punch the man with the gun.
And it has the label or the image that comes up when you do so, which is Sacco, is so good. I just want to I don't know. I don't think I can put that into my regular vocabulary. Sacco, in this movie, really, he wound up and hit him and just gave him a good Sacco.
It's like 1960s Batman on
very much so. As is the dialogue and the writing. It's all very film noir, hard-boiled detective.
Ace Hurdy, I mean, it's right there.
I know.
A retired boxer working as a private eye.
Of course, because hence that's why you can hit things real hard, and it's got a lot of It really, it's as far as style goes, it really captures that really well. I think.
Another big one is when you go back to your office for the first time and you can see the shadow of the person through your door, and
Cool.
The solution is to just shoot them.
I know.
Shoot them through the glass.
Hopefully it's not the cleaning person. Hopefully it's not a janitor. Well, because you can when the bum walks up to you, and everything again in this game, if someone's in your face, they are in your face. They are literally close up. And the descriptions this game does, again, very funny for the most part. When the bum walks up, you can smell the booze on him, makes your eyes water, and again, very descriptive. You can give him some money and he'll tell you someone's waiting to kill you in your office.
Oh. You can also hit him, and it basically says that he's so drunk he doesn't even feel it.
Yeah, he just doesn't. He just saunters away, this bleary eye. This game has a lot of fail states. You can get yourself completely stuck, which is a really hard thing about adventure games. One thing that Maniac Mansion avoids beautifully, for the most part. There are a couple creepy, crazy fail states that you can get yourself into. But this game can be very cheap. You take one wrong turn, you fall into a construction pit. Open up the...
Right. Or that mugger I talked about, you can punch him twice to get away from him. And the third time, he's just there's no way out, he just shoots you. And he shows up randomly, as far as I know.
Yep. It's a random thing. If at the third time, if you don't give him, if you can give him a $20 bill.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then he can go away. But there's also another mugger that looks like this big Popeye character that you also really can't do much about. You just have to give him a $20 bill if you run into him.
Woof.
Indeed. This game has a lot of chaff in it as far as items. You don't need half of the. You don't even need half of the stuff, which is very much so of the style. I don't know if Maniac Mansion had a ton of that. It did for sure. You don't need to raid the fridge.
The broken jars of ketchup and stuff that you can get out of the fridge and the pantry and stuff. But this one, like you said, the top that you're being framed for murder. So those planted evidence that makes you look like the bad guy, and there's evidence that points to the actual bad people, and just discerning what you need and what you don't need. And that's where it always got me. That's why I never finished. Is like, what am I doing as this dumb kid? Dumb kid can't figure this out.
And there's lots of like nesting opens too. Like you have to open the box to get the folder and open the folder, and everything is laid out in your inventory. Unlike a Maniac Mansion, which is smart, you just kind of arrow through a little menu at the bottom of your inventory. This one has looks like a detective's notebook that you have to page through. And boy, oh boy, when you have like 10 pages worth of items, paging through them is just rough. It's rough.
Or like in the beginning, you're in the bathroom stall, you've got your coat in front of you, so you have to take the coat, open the coat, get your wallet, open the wallet, take everything out. It's like, oh my God.
Right. And this time around, I try to play it for real, because at the open, you wake up in the bathroom, you have your coat there, and you have your gun. I guess because they want to frame you, so they have your gun is there. And you have to go in your pocket to find things. Now, you have to realize to open your pocket, which is not an intuitive thing to know at the outset. Like, literally, what's one of the first things you have to do, because you can't progress, like you said, unless you open your pocket and get out. I think there's a key and a lighter and a pencil or something, which you actually do need later. It just looks like chaff. Yeah, the story itself is a real. It's a doozy. Again, I played it maybe 2 hours ago, and I don't quite remember make heads or tails of it. But essentially, it's a ransom scheme where some guy finds another rich guy sleeping around with someone else. So they kidnap the guy's wife and says, you have to give us $20,000 to return this person to you, and then we won't tell them about the affair. And somehow they try to pin it all on you.
Is that the plump lady you find in the trunk?
Yes, in which they write a really insensitive thing.
Yeah.
Like, the description of her is extremely insensitive. And it's like, wow. Okay, again, yeah, look at it in terms of 1992 eyes or whatever. I guess it's probably earlier than
85 originally.
Real? Oh, that's right. Sure. So 1985. Yeah, if you're on Mac Venture. Yeah, that's a little insensitive to that person, but boy, oh boy.
Speaking of her and the chaff you're talking about, you find the drugs in the one office, and there are so many different ones, and you have to use specific ones at specific times. Like, you have to use the one on her that makes her basically talk in her sleep.
Yep.
To give you a clue.
To give you a clue. And then there's everything else on that shelf, because there is a point where you go up to a pharmacy of some sort, a doctor, and you have to find the file that explains what all the stuff does, because you have to examine everything in this game. Even if you examine the keys, it'll give you a clue to where they go. Because again, you're on this invisible timer that, again, if you take too long clicking around and exploring, you are just going to die and the game is over. So there is a time limit, but the problem is you can't see it. Have you ever played Shadowgate?
No, that, like, okay. If this one spooked me, there's no way I was going to get through something like that. No way.
Shadowgate's super fun because all of the death descriptions are really fun and gruesome, and it's great. I like Shadowgate a lot.
That's the one with the girl with the hat that you, like, touch on the shoulder and turns around as a skeleton, right?
No, that's Uninvited.
Uninvited? Okay.
I've never played Uninvited. Shadowgates is you walk up to a castle and you have to kind of unravel the mystery of this wizard. It's very, again, like a fantasy type of adventurer story, but there's really great death descriptions in Shadowgate. But Shadowgate has a mechanic where you have torches, and there's 2 torches, and if you let those torches go out, the game is over because you're now wandering around blindly in darkness. Ooh. But you can find torches everywhere, and you can see the status of your torches, and the game gives you this like wow, wow, annoying noise if you're about to run out of torch light.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's not great because there are a limited amount of torches, and if you spend too much time wandering around trying to figure things out, as you do in an adventure game, you quickly run out. So, but this at least gives you a warning. In this game, yeah, no warning. It'll eventually tell you you're about to pass out. And so it's
I want to say 2 is on like a big timer too. Like, you only have so long before you're in a fail state. I don't know a whole lot about it. Never
Yeah,
actually
that's fair.
played 2.
Nah, same here. I've not played it. I may one day, maybe if I ever fire up the old streaming again on Tuesday nights, if I ever get the time to do that again, maybe I'll play through Deja Vu 2. But yeah, man, I think it's a fun game though. What do you have any other memories of playing that game or kind of experiencing it, especially as a kid?
Going down to the sewer to throw things away and having the alligator pop up.
I know.
It's like, holy
good.
crap.
Pretty good. You gotta shoot the alligator in the head. You have the gun still.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
I always ended up dying there.
Yeah, you can shoot the alligator if you still have the gun, but you can run into a situation because you have to throw away the murder weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things you have to throw away. But if you get lost in that sewer and run into the alligator without the gun, guess what?
Chomp.
You're dead. Chomp, dead. That's the end of your game. Good luck. And you have to start from scratch. So many of those things. Take the wrong medication, dead.
Yep.
Yeah, run into the lady in the red dress. Don't do the right thing. Bang, dead. Kills you right in front of the police station. That's literally where you are. Right in front of the police station. Blows you away.
That solution to that is to punch her, I think.
Yes, you punch her right in the face, and that takes care of her. And then you can steal her purse.
It was the 80s.
Right in front. Yeah, right in front of the police station, which is great.
Oy, oy.
One of my favorite ones too is when you can start the car and it's a car bomb and explodes. The Mercedes in the front.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. It's like, ooh, let me start this car. Because you don't even know there's a taxi. Because at that point, it's early in the game. You think, oh, maybe this is my vehicle. I'm going to use this to get around. Nope. Kablams.
You get around.
You can run out of money real fast. Run out of money, and then you're doomed. Nothing you can do.
You can just keep going back to the casino. As long as you can get there, there's always a coin in the slot, like down in the tray that you can use to play the slot machine over and over.
Yeah,
as long
there's
as
always
you get there.
one coin. Yeah, there's always one coin there. And I think the game, if you only have the one coin, will just give you more. I don't think it lets you completely run out. I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, I think you always win when you play that one coin.
Yeah. Again, if you have multiple coins, it may take a while, but if you're down to one, it'll give you the 3 bars, whatever. In the underground casino, which again, lots of flavor. Love that.
Mm-hmm. Don't you turn a spigot in like a giant keg and it reveals the secret room to that?
You have to actually punch a wine bottle. But it's one specific wine bottle in a series of, I think, 10. And how would you know that?
Right.
How would you know that? Unless you're just mousing around and you can see it light up like, oh, the thing says like loose bottle, and you have to hit it to open up the secret door, or you can get there through the sewers. Either way.
Yeah, I must be thinking of another point and click, but they kind of run together.
They really do. They really do. Are you a fan of point and click adventures on a whole?
Here and there, yeah, I think so. Like I tried to play Thimbleweed Park last year, and I didn't get too far into it. It's like a Maniac Mansion spiritual successor.
I like that game a lot. Yeah, I played through. I finished it actually.
Oh yeah, I figured that would be one that you would like.
Like it quite a bit. Yeah, it has a lot of that Maniac Mansion vibe to it. Very good game if you haven't played it, and if you enjoy Maniac Mansion. And Day of the Tentacle, which is also wonderful. Day of the Tentacle, yes.
You chided Blair on that Maniac Mansion episode because he's never played it. I've also never played Day of the Tentacle.
It's so good. It's you can't fail state in that game. Nice. You cannot just screw yourself by making mistakes. I think unless you do something really stupid. But I don't think you can actually bone yourself completely and have to start over, which is rare. Like all the other ones, like Grim Fandango, I think you can, and all those other ones that are a little too obtuse for my taste. Have you ever watched like film noir movies? I think everyone has a phase with movies. Like I had a little phase where I was watching a lot of like detective film noir stuff. Did I ever?
I don't think so. Like I like detective stuff, not so much the noir phase. I'm sure I saw Dick Tracy back in the day when they made that movie.
I think everyone. I was gonna say Dick Tracy for sure.
Yeah.
My most endearing memory of Dick Tracy is when Flat Top starts yelling as Dick Tracy is loosely tied up in the basement of this building that's about to explode. 30 seconds, no more dick. 30 seconds, no more dick. For some reason, that has always been ingrained in my brain. Then, of course, Madonna playing the role of whoever.
Yeah, right. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, the femme fatale of Mr. Dick Tracy. I don't know if and Robert Al Pacino as the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? Al Pacino. Strange. You know what? When I do these tales from the bargain bin, I try to fill out a half an hour. So we have to fill out this half an hour. It can't be a 15-minute conversation.
Okay.
So if we have to work a little harder than usual, that's fine.
Yeah, like I had said earlier that I knew my dad played this because 2020, when I beat it for the first time, I sent him a text. It's like, hey, I in the screenshot, I finally beat this game. I think I had to use a guide to figure out which things I needed and which things I didn't. And I think he had texted back that he never actually managed to beat it himself. But it was a pretty cool moment to finally wrap that up after
That's cool.
playing as a kid and not knowing what the hell I was doing.
That's really cool. I was going to say, because it sounds like that kind of finishes a small little journey there. Because it does sound like it's a pretty bright memory of you and your dad, and you were able to kind of share that with him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Not to get too down, but later that year after I beat it, my dad passed. So this is like the
Oh man,
like
that's right.
a reconnection kind of thing.
Oh, cool, man. Well, that's cool. So wow, so that was kind of one of the, I want to say last, but kind of like a final little. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Cool, man. I'm
got
sorry to hear
to
that.
close that chapter before the end.
And he said he had never was able to successfully finish it.
Yeah, for what I remember, he said it was a challenging one, a tough one.
It's a toughie. It's a challenging game. And those games, again, were just the guidance that it does not give you is not great.
Yeah, especially back then. They're not going to hold your hand at all.
No, not at all. And again, this game wasn't popular enough to even warrant like guides or anything. So you kind of just, and I don't know how we received it. I don't know how this ended up. This might have been my beloved Aunt Nancy who saw this game. Although I could definitely see my brother wanting it because he really likes Shadowgate, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So I could probably see him be like, "Oh, it's just a detective Shadowgate." Yeah, yep. You know how random this game is, or how like not well known. I can't find quotes on it. This is the internet, y'all. I just want like the opening scrawl, which is like you wake up in the toilet that smells like it has been cleaned in 3 weeks, and it has that vibe of, again, like this serialized detective story.
Yeah, well, you get the image that the guy's saying it in between puffs of a cigarette or something.
Oh, yeah, totally. Good gruff voice. He's got this like narration going on in his head. It's very, very, very funny. We mentioned this game was released on nearly everything. This started as an Apple II game. And is part of that, again, I think that Mac Venture series. You said you tried it on like the older computer versions and it was not impossible?
Because I have this on Steam and it's like, it basically boots into what the window would have looked like when you were playing it back in the day. It's like Windows, probably before 3 point whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, so when you open up your inventory, it pops up a window for your coat, and then it pops up the window for your wallet. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know that I have this in me. I think I actually prefer the NES.
It's so funny because I want desperately to play this with a mouse. I did the same thing with Maniac Mansion because they have it on Steam, but it's the old, like, I want to say Commodore version that you could play with a mouse though, and it's so much better with a mouse. But the NES version, of course, is the one I know. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was ported to PS4 and Xbox One, of all things. Like, I didn't know it was on any modern platforms. I think it's like a Mac Venture collection, because I'm pretty sure Uninvited and Shadowgate are both on there, too. I don't know if it's got Deja Vu too.
Oh, it's like a whole collection?
Right.
Okay.
So
I would so buy that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it'd be easier to navigate using the thumbstick than it would just the standard D-pad.
This digital press gave the NES version of Deja Vu 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Approving the puzzle solving. I think it's better than that, personally. That just maybe nostalgia glasses. While having average opinions on the graphics and music. I disagree. I think that like main theme is really good.
Oh, yeah, I love the music in this game. It's probably part of what's so eerie about it. But
I love it.
Joe's bar is real good.
Yep. It has some variety to it. It's all the themes are pretty good, and again, like lend that sense of suspense and mystique and discovery. Deja Vu was named the best entertainment product by the Software Publishers Association. So that's a factoid.
Wow.
I've never heard of the software.
No.
The Software and Information Industry Association. Huh. Established in 1984.
Definitely not something
with
that Mac Venture made just so they could put that quote on the box.
Right. Because, parents are going to be like, oh, this is approved by an organization. This is fantastic. Okay, here we go. This is what this show does, by the way. We just kind of go down these roads. They were the originators of the Don't Copy That Floppy advertisement campaign, the anti-copyright infringement campaign. Don't copy that floppy.
Very nice.
Huh. Yeah, I remember that. That was, they used to play that like the end of like video, like VHS tapes and stuff, don't copy. Yeah.
So kids, this was the old people version of you wouldn't download a car.
Yes. This was literally the old, yes, you wouldn't download a car. Why would you download a game? Stealing games is a federal offense.
Blah, blah, blah.
My wife has this, as like this exercise DVD thing, and at the beginning of it, it shows the usual protection: $250,000 fine if you copy this and distribute it. Of course, you can find it on YouTube now. And my son looked at it. He was like walking by as it was on the TV, and the DVD was starting up, and he's like, "What's that?" I go, "That's what the government tried to use 15, 20 years ago to stop us from stealing things." And and walked away. And my thought was, yes. Exactly. That's what we all said.
Yeah, right.
Oh, and we walked away and stole away, and nobody ever got in any trouble ever for these things.
We all use Kazan, LimeWire.
What was your stream? What was your stealing platform of choice?
I was basically those two.
Yeah, I was Napster. I started there, but it was Kazaa. Kazaa was my main one. There might be one called Morpheus, maybe.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
It was just like a Kazaa clone, but Kazaa and Napster were my two. You found that one song or that one cover that you knew wasn't really this cover, but misappropriated to another band. It's like, that's so good. The Real Big Fish version of Brown Eyed Girl. That wasn't them. That wasn't them. Not at all. Those are the days.
So I have your opening scroll pulled up on a YouTube video.
Okay, great.
If you want me to read that, and then
yes, and I would like you to read that in your best film noir detective voice.
So yes, this is the Game Boy Color version, because they
what is going on? Game Boy Color version of Deja Vu.
Port that to the Game Boy Color. I imagine it plays pretty similar.
Probably fine.
It looks decent. Like, you start in the bathroom, it's got like graffiti and stuff scribbled on the walls, which is not in the NES version. So it's got a little more color to it too. All right, let me see if I can do this.
I have faith in you. It's okay.
I don't do a lot of voices. I don't really have that opportunity with Mike.
Well, listen, that's what this show is all about. It's about freedom of expression. Just express yourself in that way.
Man, we tried to do that whole bit for the April Fool's episode when we did Justice League, and he was like 5 minutes in. He's like, "Okay, we're done with that." Like,
that was a disaster. That was a disastrous beginning to a disastrous. The episode was fine.
Yeah,
but disastrous movie. So
all right,
fit perfectly. Go for
See if I can do this. You awaken from a dazed stupor that feels like a very bad. Oh man. Okay, part of the problem is that this text is super blocky and it's hard to read. So I'm going to pick up my mic and I'm going to move away from the monitor so it looks a little easier to see. You still hear me okay?
Fair. Yeah, I got you, man.
Okay.
Go for it.
You awake from a day's stupor that feels like a very bad headache after a long and an extremely unlucky week spent in Vegas. Taking inventory of yourself, you notice your right hand is covered with blood, though strangely you neither see nor feel any wounds. Feeling a sharp pain on your left forearm, you roll up your sleeve. A small puncture gives you pause. ... Have I been given something? You mutter, hearing a voice which sounds strange to your ears. So, with the Game Boy version, you get less text on screen at a time, apparently.
Oh my gosh, yeah, imagine that.
Oh god, this would be impossible to read on an actual Game Boy screen. With the dawning horror, you then realize you don't remember who you are.
Dun dun dun! The classic tale.
You've no idea why you're here, or even where here is. Everything's a hazy blank.
A hazy blank.
You've no memory whatsoever.
Nice, that was good. That was good. The palpable fear, the concern, the confusion of waking up in amnesia in the toilet. That's great. I love that. I will be...
It's never a good time when you wake up in the toilet. You know, something bad's happened.
Not to get it. That has actually happened to me. I've woken up. Hey, where am I? What time is it? Oh, it's 5 a.m. and I'm upside down in a bathroom stall of a restaurant in New Orleans. Oh no. Whoa, Rutro. Yeah, that wasn't great. That'll be that might be a conversation for another day. That was.
So you get out of the bathroom stall, and the first thing you do is look in the mirror and realize that you don't know.
No, I tried to. I think I tried to avoid the mirror and bright lights. I think that was old Bill days. That was a nasty old Bill memory. The one I found, I was just scrubbing through the NES version video, is you're in a reception room or secretary's office. The odor of cheap perfume still lingers in the air. I hit the wrong button and got that at the beginning with him looking at the gun. All right, but anyway. Damn it. I love it though. This is a fun game, and I think we made our half an hour. We did. Fantastic. See? I figured we would. So, Mr. K. Hughes, so Deja Vu for the NES, do you bring it home or do you put it back in the bin?
Didn't you just ask me that? That's weird.
I don't think I did. Maybe not in that way, but...
Huh, must be Deja Vu.
Oh!
We had to make that joke at some point. I was going to get it out right at the beginning, and I forgot.
Man. Oh, listen, you know what? When you hit it, you hit it far. Well done, good sir.
Yeah, I'm taking this thing home. Like, yeah. It definitely feels like a 80s point and click game, especially using the NES D-pad, like we said. But yeah, I'll definitely play this again at some point for sure.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna keep it on the not on the shelf as Mr. Albertine would say, but definitely bring it home, stick it in a box somewhere. And yeah, I like this game quite a bit. This brings up like a lot of good memories, and I think it's just fun enough. It's no Shadowgate in my opinion, but it's definitely a good example of what that style of game is. And again, I think if you play it with like a walkthrough and kind of get a sense of the story, again, you can blow through this in about 45 minutes if you know what you are doing. All right. Well, thank you very much for checking out this edition of Tales from the Bargain Bin. If you have a tale from your local bargain bin, from your local store of choice, I'd love to hear that story. Reach out to me on Twitter at @AGamerLooks4040. DMs are always open, kind of flooded now because I put out an open casting call on Twitter for Earthbound, rental games, and Final Fantasy. And oh boy, if you respond to that, and I think I got back to everybody at this point. But hey, I'd love to hear other stories about games that you fell in love with, that you randomly had in your possession, but really don't know how they got there. Kind of like our protagonist of Deja Vu. So if you want to check that out, AGamerLooks40 on Twitter, that's the best place to reach out, or on email at AGamerLooks4040@gmail. And that pretty much does it. Michael, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Going down the memory lane, or lack thereof, if I can use one more joke about losing your mind. Thanks again for checking out the show. Until next time, watch out for those open construction pits. You'll just fall right in.